podcast. I got my usual co-host, John Boyle, here with me. And then we have two special guests. We have Sebastian Hernandez and Nish on the show. So, guys, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's start with you, Sebastian. A little bit of introduction of yourself, because I think you do the best job for you, right? Yeah. So
right, I'll try.
Yeah.
So
it's been 2 weeks since Joey's been on the podcast.
yeah, I'm already rusty.
Yeah,
I'm already
he
rusty.
was on vacation last week.
Yeah. So
He's still on vacation mode, so don't mind him.
that's right.
nice. You guys still on vacation mode, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, basically, I dabbled across a couple industries. I've been in the accounting industry. I've been in the logistics industry. I did the sports industry, and I mean, eventually, I dabbled into construction really by accident. And now I'm the general manager and owner of Hearn Home Improvements. We're a remodeling firm out of Flanders, New Jersey. And on top of that, I do a little bit of real estate investing, trying to grow my portfolio.
Nice. So how long have you been in the construction and remodeling industry? I understand that your dad actually started the business originally, right? And how did you get involved?
Yeah, so sort of. So my father, he's always been in construction. He's always been very handy, and that's been kind of like his thing. And then I want to backtrack a little bit more. I became a real estate agent, and I failed miserably. I didn't enjoy it, and I still kept trying hard and made zero money, zero transactions. So shout out to all the realtors making money out there, because it's very tough. But anyway, I failed miserably at being a realtor. However, one of the learning lessons was that I made a ton of connections. I made a ton of good friends. And I saw an opportunity in the remodeling industry because we needed some work done at a property. And I couldn't get anybody. And the ones that I got were just horrible. So I said, you know what? I see an opportunity here to do even a better job. So I said, hey, Dad, let's just start a handyman business. Let's just do some work here and there. And so we started with that. That was a little bit over 3 years ago.
Okay.
And little by little, we started doing a project, and that led to another one, a referral. Then eventually, we got asked to do a bathroom. We did it, and then kind of like domino effect. You start doing one project, then you start growing. You start making money, reinvesting it, buying another car. Reinvesting into the business, and then that's kind of like how we got to where we are today.
Nice. So can you tell the audience kind of, or give them a picture of the size of the business you're running today, how many projects you've got going on at the same time?
Yeah, so right now we're very lean. So in terms of employees, we have 2 full-time employees, my father, myself, and my sister.
Okay.
So that's 5 people full-time, and then the rest are all like subs, like trade subs. So we usually have about 9 to 10 people working for the company.
Wow.
And we're usually doing anywhere between 5 to 10 projects. They range in size. Some are. We only do interior remodeling. We're very focused on only interior remodeling. So most of what we do is bath remodels and kitchens and basements. So those are the majority of what we do, as you know.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of the size of our business. We're a small company, obviously, but we cater mainly to primary homeowners, and we want to make their dream bathroom, dream kitchen, dream basement come true. And we try to do that in a way that is very hands-off for the homeowner. And it's all about the experience.
Did you practice for this?
No.
No. You sound so professional, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. No, that's excellent, man. That's really good.
That's how he gets all the deals. That's how he gets all the, projects he's working on.
Right.
Yeah, Joey's been to a lot of them. He's quite involved in some of them.
Yeah.
gets to deal with all my craziness sometimes.
No, you're good. You're good, man. He's actually one of the few contractors that I actually love. You know, you have so many contractors that just don't really do what they say. That's the part of the industry we kind of hate, right? Where contractors don't do what they say. So he's one of the few guys, like I said, that does what he says he's gonna do. And you can really trust him. And not only that, he does a great job. I've been to a lot of the jobs he's had. So he buys a lot of kitchen cabinets from us. So he's a really good client of ours, of course. And that's kind of where we really met the first time. And then also real estate events and stuff like that. So I'm gonna transition in that and go over to Nish. And if you can get a little closer to the mic,
Sure.
Give the audience a little bit of a brief intro of yourself and kind of like what you're doing now.
Sure. I was trained as an actuary. That's pricing. Technically, it's mathematics of risk management. So originally started off as pricing life insurance policies.
Okay.
But you can take that skill set to price home insurance, commercial insurance, health insurance, long-term care insurance. And you can use the mathematics to price financial products, so forth. My last job was working as an outsourcing actuary for Genworth.
Okay.
They were in the mortgage insurance business and long-term care insurance business. They are a closed block business. They don't sell business anymore, but life insurance have a long lifespan of 100 years.
Yeah.
So you have to administer those policies and make sure the company has enough funding to pay off their liabilities. So I was hired to outsource the back-end work to India. I worked there for 4.5 years. I'm currently disabled because of Parkinson's.
Okay.
But I took I was getting into the property and casualty space in my actuarial examinations. And my interest in real estate is more macroeconomic trends I remember the 2006 market crash, and that's when Genworth lost a lot of money because of the mortgage insurance got called, and Genworth had to pay a lot of liabilities.
Yeah.
So I follow macroeconomic trends of real estate, metals, stock market, things like that. So
Nice. So how did you get interested in that industry, in the insurance industry? So I personally, I used to be an insurance agent myself, right? So I had a Series 6 license and then life and health insurance licenses as well. So I don't really know the back end, which is kind of what you're doing, right? I'm more on like the sales side, the front end. So that's what I used to do, So I do understand insurance a little bit, but not the calculations, right? Of how much it is, because everything's kind of computer generated, right? But before you get to the computer generated stuff, you have to have someone like yourself who actually create those numbers, right? The formulas.
sure, I can give you a brief introduction to the actuarial space.
Mm-hmm.
Life insurance is essentially frequency, mortality. When a person lives, he gets money from the insurance company as a pension or annuity.
Okay.
Or a person dies, and the family gets money, life insurance. So mortality tables are 50, 100 years long, and we had to use conservative assumptions of the premium that the insurance company takes in to build investor premium into bonds mostly because the stock market is too volatile,
Mm.
and make sure that the company has enough funding to pay off future liabilities. So these are long duration contracts. Property and casualty are a mixed bag, but the difference is they have a frequency of car getting into an accident, that's a frequency, and a severity, how much the damage is.
Mm-hmm.
So the mathematics is a little bit different. Home insurance and health insurance is similar. Health insurance, probability of getting sick, and what's the damage of the body. So it's similar to some degree. But property and casualty space is a good portion of for the average Joe is a 1-year policy, because at the end of the year, the company, let's say the company gets $1 million of premium, and then if the benefits they pay out is $800,000, $200,000 goes for profits and maintenance of the business.
Mm-hmm.
But if they pay out $1.1 million in benefits and they only collected $1 million, then next year you get premium increases. So there's a lot of calculations that go on. Good portion of the calculations is subdividing the group into risk classes. For homes, it's neighborhoods and flood zones and materials used. And for cars, it's sports cars versus color of the car and age of the person, things like that. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it seems like very, very, very intricate overall. Like it's not like the mathematics there are very, very complex.
You can make it as complex as you want. More complex, the easier to sell the policy, the more money the insurance company makes.
That's true. That's true. Do you guys have any questions for either?
No, I was actually looking to get my license myself, but
What do you mean, insurance license?
yeah.
Okay.
I kept getting badgered on my last vacation over it.
Which when you say insurance license, which insurance?
Medicaid, life insurance.
So they're different. So you have what they call P&C, property and casualty. Then you have life and health.
Life and health, I heard, is a lot more on the upside than property and casualty.
Yeah, property and casualty is a little tougher. It's a tougher insurance. I mean, not insurance. License to get. There's more to study for.
There's a lot more variety in property and casualty.
Right.
So from long-term liability insurance for doctors to basic home insurance to commercial insurance to transporting insurance for goods and services. So it's a lot more big variety of things. It's a lot more different product lines. Life and health is just you live or you die. So
Pretty straightforward, right?
yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I want to know what the most difficult part about what you guys do is.
What do you mean? Which?
Like for individually, like
Oh, individually. Okay.
something different. So each individual, what's the most difficult part about your job?
Yeah, you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think from my point of view, it's two things. Number one is being a leader and making sure that my team follows the vision and that they're always motivated. So, I'm always being challenged and making sure that I'm a good leader and that I step up even when there's a lot of difficult situations that might come up. And then the other side, remodeling business, even though we do enough volume where it starts to become like a manufacturing facility where you just go from here to here to here to here, there's still areas for unpredictable things to happen. So a lot of times is just dealing with unforeseen circumstances. That's one of the things that can be a little bit challenging in our business. So I would say those two things are definitely the most challenging ones.
Nice.
For me, it's it has always been legality. Each state has an insurance commissioner and insurance department, so they regulate property and casualty and life and health insurance. And as computer programmers like to program all day long, regulators like to regulate all day long. So they always come with new rules and new restrictions on doing this or doing that. So we always have to keep up to date with that, including it has to state regulation, statutory regulation has to correspond to the IRS and the federal regulation of taxes, and then many of the insurance products are financial-based products. So there is SEC regulation for GAAP accounting, and so keeping up with regulation is always difficult because the mind is going towards how do they want us to make our products versus being more free to creatively make products that are much better for the customer. So.
Yeah. So in terms of going back into challenges, right? What do you think the challenges are going forward? Let's say in today's market, like as far as let's say construction, we're gonna kind of separate it and go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like construction industry, what do you think the challenges are for the construction industry, or just your business, not yourself, but the business as a whole? What do you think the new challenges are, and what can you do to kind of solve those challenges?
Right. So I think if we talk about like the economy, I think the way things are right now, they're actually being really beneficial for the remodeling industry. And the way I see it is as this. Right now the interest rates are high.
Mm-hmm.
So most home buyers are locked in at a lower rate. And most of them, if they're not happy with their home, whether it's the size of the home or the bathroom or the kitchen or whatever it is, it doesn't really make sense for them to sell the house and go buy their dream home. For most of them, what makes the most sense is to invest in their current home and continue raising the value of their house. And that way they just maintain their interest rate. So that's the way I've been seeing it play out. I know.
Same here.
So I'm seeing a lot of volume, people calling interested in remodeling their home, because where else are they going to go? If you need additional space, let's talk about remodeling your basement. Let's talk about doing an addition. I mean, what can we do with your current home? Because for most people, it doesn't make sense to just sell the house and where are you going to get?
Right.
The payments are going to be extremely high. Now, in terms of challenges, I mean, I think the remodeling industry, it's a little bit tougher to scale because what I was saying before, there's a lot of unpredictability. So I think that's a challenge for me, continuing to build a lot of processes in place and just really continuing to train people and making sure that I know I'm not going to find, one person to do everything that I do, because that's just not the way it works.
Yep.
So just finding, 5-6 people that I can train specifically into one area of the business and hand it off to them, and obviously keep them accountable and, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. So those are, I would say, the challenges, and obviously I'm up for them. I'm very eager and hungry to keep growing, but definitely those are the things that we got to, at least I have to keep an eye out for as we scale the business.
Yeah. I forget who said it, but there was someone, I was listening to another podcast a while back where they, kind of like you were explaining that like no one's going to care about your business as much as you do, obviously. So if you find someone that is even about like 70% of where you are in like that, in doing whatever, tasks you want them to do, then that's probably good enough where you could like leave it to them. Obviously, managing them, making sure, hopefully it gets higher than that. But then that helps you not lose focus, but focus on higher level tasks that you could do for your business. so then you could make more money, and then you could, do the same thing and continue on, so on and so forth. I think it was Mark Cuban who said that in a podcast with Bobby. We were speaking about Bobby and Drake a little earlier today, so just reminded me. But yeah, so I thought I should mention that to people.
Yeah, no, and it's true. I mean, when you're in the day to day, you have to be very patient with people, because just think about it, they're working for your business, and so the way I like to see it is I want to be able to train them, and I want to be able to appreciate them, but also keep them accountable. So it's a mix, right? Because sometimes you got to have tough conversations, but at the end of the day, I mean, I like to really show appreciation to everybody that works either for me or works like as a vendor, like Joey and them. So I try to always have really good relationship, respectful. Sometimes you got to have tough conversations. So I think that's the challenge sometimes. But yeah, you just got to train people, and that's the only way you're gonna grow. You can't do it by yourself. It's impossible.
What about you, Nish? For the insurance industry as a whole, what do you see as far as challenges? All right, I think you actually mentioned it, but more so for the industry and not just yourself personally. What do you see as far as like the challenges going forward? Because as you know, the rates are continuously rising. Like all my stuff is going up, right? Like I just literally got a letter yesterday that my insurance is going up 25%. I forget which carrier, because I have so many different insurance. Like for example, so I also own a construction business as well, right? So I have, for my construction business, I have liability insurance. I have the insurance for my trucks. I have workman's comp insurance. Then, you have umbrella insurance for, basically everything. That's just one part of the business, right? The construction business. Then you have like your personal home, right? You got your homeowner's insurance as well. And then you have like for your personal, you have life insurance, right? So again, I don't know which one has gone up, but like I said, 25%, that's a lot in 1 year, So what do you see, again, as the difficulty in the insurance industry, and then how do they kind of keep their prices down?
Well, it's been an inflationary year, a couple of years. We say inflation casually as it's a natural phenomenon, but I look at the macroeconomic issues behind it. It's a currency issue, where during the lockdowns they printed the government
a couple trillion, yeah.
So the money has to filter down into goods and services and labor costs eventually. So it's a man-made phenomena, inflation and deflation, by the control of currency essentially. So the costs have been going up because the money has filtered down. It starts from the top, people get it, and then they spend, and then eventually filters down to the average person to get it.
Right.
So insurance companies have strict regulations on how much profits they can make and how much they can use for expenses by state regulations. So they're also in a bind in terms of having to raise the costs, raise premiums year after year. So that's an issue. I know on the life side, due to lockdowns, people have been depressed, and there's suicides are increasing, and due to COVID, and the elephant in the room, I think, is the vaccine injuries, but no one talks about that. A lot more people are getting sick, so there's less and less labor out there. So So immigration is the one way that you're the CEO of your company, president of your company. The United States president is like the CEO of the United States of America.
Right.
So if you think of United States of America as a company, they're losing labor due to getting sick and dying, so they need to import more labor. So that's where immigration comes in, legal or illegal.
Never thought about that.
Is that your theory on why the borders are open?
Yes, it's my theory, but it's I think I heard that from New York governor, New York City mayor was trying to get the federal government
Eric
to
Adams?
give them, labor. Permit the immigrants to work, and so
Yeah, I don't know why they don't.
Yeah, right now, if I'm not mistaken, the New York City government itself is going to be losing billions per year so far, just based off of how many immigrants are already being bussed here from like Texas and other red states. In fact, like other cities that were what's it called? Sanctuary cities?
Yeah.
Like when Texas and like Arizona and a lot of other southern border states started sending them over to those different cities, they had to call states of emergency because they couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Handle the huge influx. Although they were saying,
Send them.
Texas should be able to handle it. So
Yeah, it's just hypocrisy, I think,
Yeah.
in that regard, right? So it's kind of like, hey, there's, I think I read there was like 155 or 157 sanctuary cities throughout the U.S. I don't know if you know the number.
I don't know the number.
But, and this is all throughout the U.S., right? And so they're saying, hey, we're okay if you're going to send us your illegal immigrants, right? I know that's not the politically correct term anymore, but I don't know what the new term is. So send them to us. We'll take care of them. And then at the same time, because sanctuary cities just kind of means that you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not allowing, because the federal government says, hey, it's illegal, like you have to arrest these people that are coming, right? Because they're illegal immigrants, right? Did I lose my? And what the sanctuary cities are saying, no, we're not going to follow the federal guidelines here. And then at the same time, like New York City, they're saying, hey, we're being overrun by these people and we need your federal dollars.
federal aid.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of hypocrisy at this point. So if you don't want these people to come here, don't be a sanctuary city. That's the I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm not the one actually handling it. But, being an immigrant myself, right? And I think we're all immigrant besides him, right? Who was
How can you tell?
Huh?
How can you tell?
I just know his history, right? I don't know about you, Nish, but your background, you're from India, right?
Yes, I didn't want to make this into political.
No, it's not. We're not saying anything political. We're just kind of stating facts here, right?
I'm just finding out that everything is connected, and one thing affects another. More immigrants means lesser labor costs for construction companies,
right?
And for lawn mowing and things like that. So everything is connected. There's nothing that's individually independent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day labor and costs are up, though.
Excuse me?
Day labor and costs are up.
Day labor costs are up. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I haven't picked up a day labor in a while, but
They're in the $200, $250.
$250?
Up to $250.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
They're
crap.
gonna negotiate,
Yeah.
but they're starting at $250.
Wow, Joe. Holy crap.
Yeah, Jose,
Did you know that?
Jose was
I
telling
didn't know that.
Jose was telling me that when he was asking certain people at Home Depot,
Yeah.
you know, near Atlantic City, like they were asking for like 200, 250.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, oh yeah, now I understand. Like that's like, you know, what's the going rate now, roughly.
Wow. So when I first started, like, oh god, 20 years ago, and I, you know, I didn't have a ton of laborers, right? So I used to go pick up day laborers at this place down in Orange, and these guys used to charge us $60 a day, and we would pick them up to either do demolition, let's say insulation, or to dig a hole or something like that. You know, like pretty much unskilled.
Oh yeah, just for context, the 200 and like maybe a little bit below that is like the unskilled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
Just so you're aware.
I know.
He has their own tools and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. That's different. You're almost like your own little mini company then. Okay. All right. Then that's fine. Yeah. Then that's okay. You know, to pay that much, because if they are getting themselves to the job site and you're not picking them up, then it's worth it almost. As long as they do a fairly decent job.
That's more like a mini sub.
Yeah. Yeah, like a small Subway. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy though. How much prices have gone up, you know, in the last 20 years. I mean, I've seen it slowly, like little by little. Like it went from 60 to 80, then it went to 100, and then it just jumped to like 150. It didn't even go to like 120, 140. It just went to like 150. And then from there went to 180, and then 200, 250. You know, I've even heard stories of, you know, guys like wanting to charge $300 a day, and they don't show up till 10, and they want to leave at 3, and you got to buy them lunch. That's crazy.
On that note of everything being so expensive, what advice would you give to somebody who wants to break into each individual space that you guys are in? Who might not know what to do or how to start or how to gain the money to start?
So the question was, what advice would we give to someone who's kind of starting out in each industry? So I guess I'll take the first question, right? The first one would be, let's say, starting out in real estate, being that everything is expensive. So in real estate, I think a lot of times what we do is we will hire what we call VAs, virtual assistants. So that's someone in another country who will, you know, work for their currency, right? And that will be a lot cheaper. For example, we have a VA that works in the Philippines, and, you know, she makes about $5-6 an hour. You know, so you're not going to be able to hire somebody here in the U.S. that's going to work for $5-6 an hour doing the same thing. You know, they're going to demand at least $15-20 for the same exact work, right? So that's one way to kind of save yourself some money when you kind of like start out and you're a little bit limited on how much you can spend on things. And the other way, of course, is, you know, you got to learn and sort of do everything yourself first at the beginning. Like when I started doing the real estate stuff, I did everything myself. I didn't even have a VA. You know, I didn't even know about VAs at that time. So I had my entire family. So I went and bought like for flyers. What is that called? Like yellow letters. We did yellow letters to look for properties. So we actually bought. We had a media company. We bought the list from them, and they produced the yellow letters. It looked like handwritten letters saying like, hey, my name is Joey Chan, and I'm looking to buy houses in your neighborhood, and blah, 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 right? So, and it looks handwritten, and we actually got a deal from it,
Yeah.
right, a while back. So
I got a story in mind, something similar.
yeah. So, but what they do is they send you the letter and the envelope, and then you got to stuff it yourself. So it was me, my wife, kids. We were all stuffing the envelopes and then putting the stamps and then actually taking it to the post office, dropping it off. So those are the kind of things like you do yourself, right? And then another thing is like, let's say you, if you've ever heard of like driving for dollars. So that's something you can do also yourself to save some money, because you go and identify the properties yourself instead of like buying the list. So now you're creating your own custom list. So those are some of the things you can do yourself when you don't have the money.
Yeah. So I just, just to bounce off what you're saying, I kind of did something similar when I got started in real estate. So I remember going to like this 2-day boot camp over a weekend. It was like $99, whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it was Shamel Malik. So shout out to, he's a good friend of ours now. But I remember him saying, you got to do some things outside of the box sometimes. So, because everyone's doing letters. Sorry, Joey.
No, I know what you're going to say.
But I remember when I got started, and I did this for at least a week straight before it was like getting exhausting. So what I did was I printed out a lot of, it was like a more sincere letter, but it was just printed. And it said something along the line, it was for pre-foreclosure lists. So I looked up the list of all the homes that were going to be foreclosed on within the next 3 months in the county or whatever. So I got all the addresses. I made sure each individual one had the name of the homeowner. I made sure each individual one, I signed it just to make it look more official. I even had my picture on the side of it, so that way you see, hey, I'm not a big corporation. I'm just a small guy. Heck, I look like a child, all jokes aside. Granted, I was, I'm 33 now, but I was 27 back then. So I did that. And then not only that, but he also said, instead of mailing it, because sometimes people will look at the mail and be like, oh, this is trash, throw it out without even opening it. So what I did was individually, I rolled up the pieces of paper, put a little bow on it so it looked like a gift. And then I actually drove to each house and I dropped it off. Now, the fun thing I learned about, I learned legally, you can't put it in the mailbox because technically that's the property of the U.S. Postal Service or whatever. So what I did was I put it on doorknobs. I put it on the railing. I put it somewhere that it will just still hold. And I did that for over 700 houses.
Wow.
And then one.
Worth it.
Yeah, no, it was worth it because, and no, mind you, it was funny because people say oh, you need to know everything when you get started. No, I knew nothing. I didn't, kind of find out, I didn't know anything about short sales. So I had a friend that I met through a networking event. Well, no, I met him through Bigger Pockets. So Bigger Pockets, he was a short sale specialist. He helped negotiate the short sale for me. Mind you, I had no idea what to tell these homeowners. I'm just yeah, I'll take care of it. I know what I'm doing. When this was my first deal, I just I just looked confident. So and plus not only that, but they had nowhere else to turn really. They're gonna lose their home regardless. At least I could try to get some money in their pocket,
So they were gonna lose their home, and what did you do? You stepped in and offered them what?
So what I did was I came in. I said that, hey, so this was part of the letter where it said. So this is where I differentiated myself too, because I flat out told them in the letter that, hey, I'm not. So I'm looking to save your home, or at worst case, buy your property. So, that was where, certain people a couple people called, but most of them were tire kickers. So I don't know what happened with their homes, unfortunately. But this one, she believed in me. She was an older Spanish lady. Her son, apparently me and him graduated around the same year, so built rapport. Oh, this was my hometown too. So I lived around the corner from where the house was. So I guess she's seen me around the neighborhood, whatever. So I spoke to her. I talked. I made her feel confident that, hey, like at the very worst, like I'll buy your house and I'll make sure you get paid, because with a short sale, you get paid from the bank for moving relocation assistance. So I was able to get them, I think, $5,000 or something.
So this story was like your foot in the door.
Yeah. So it was my foot in the.
700 houses. That's how you started up.
Yeah, this is my first house, ever. And then, just it was a very. So everything was a learning experience, because I didn't know how to do a short sale. Now I do, for the most part. I didn't know like how to even write an offer, really, until I figured that out. Well, write an offer to the bank. I didn't know how I was even going to fund the deal. 2 weeks before closing, after I got it approved, I was still looking for funding. And I everything all just eventually worked out, but it was because I called so many people. I reached out to everyone in my network at that time. And before that, I went to like at least 2 to 3 networking events per week for like a year straight.
What kept you motivated? What kept you consistently keep going? Like a lot of people would have just quit after like 500 or even at 200.
It's because I'm stubborn.
That's good.
Like my mom growing up, like she always like had like a high, what's the word?
Tolerance?
High
Expectation?
expectations. There you go. High expectations for me. So it'd be like, oh, I got an A in this class. Oh, why not an A plus?
She was like a.
Sebastian now too, about what advice he would give to someone starting out.
In
Sorry.
remodeling or any business?
No, I mean you could do both. What you could talk about in general, and then like go into like your niche and what we do.
Yeesh, okay.
Yeah, in construction.
Like if you were talking to your younger self restarting, what would you tell them?
Well, I think to start remodeling, there has to be 2 things. Number one, like you have to learn to do the work yourself, or you have to find someone that can do the work, right? So the first thing is figuring out, all right, do I have the passion to like become one, like a worker maybe for a different company and start building up the skill set, or do I want to learn the business aspect and hire someone to do the work? So I think that's the starting point. But before that, you really just have to surround yourself, in the remodeling industry, whether you work for a remodeler or like a kitchen company, but you have to immerse yourself in the industry. And once you're in there, build up the knowledge to either be a business owner, or if you want to be more like the trade guy. In my case, I'm more the business side, and my father is obviously the one that really understands the labor aspect and obviously all the remodeling aspect, like the technicality of it. So I think there's 2 paths. You can go the route where you start doing all the work yourself and scaling that way, or find a partner that can manage all the work and then you take on the business side.
Very thorough explanation.
Thank you.
How long? I had a girl. I had someone that called me the other day about buying a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was more or less just asking questions. She wasn't really prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of saw. I kind of felt her out, and I said she might be. Maybe I could pick her up and hire her as an assistant to make phone calls, for leads and stuff like that. And long story short, she thought it was like a 9 to 5 job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew what her response was going to be, right? She texted me this morning. I thought it was going to be something that I would be able to do per hour, right? Get paid by hour, right? And I didn't want. My first response was, well, if you have to understand that at your young age, right? True entrepreneurship doesn't pay anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I say that to say, how long did it take you in your construction business before you actually were able to feed your family, pay your bills? Like, was it day one? Did it take 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year?
So my plan was never to have a remodeling business and be, in the position that I'm today. That was never the plan. My plan was help my father, do his handyman business and start making some money for him, and for my, mainly for him. But when I started the company with my father, I was still working full time. I had a regular 9 to 5. I was doing business to business sales for a logistics company. And so the first year we did a lot better than I could have ever imagined. So that was a little bit like, oh, wait a minute, I can make money here and run my own business. So the first year we made money, and it was like a little bit eye opening for me. That's when I was like, okay, I can see an opportunity here. And then I want to say maybe 3/4 through the second year, we're doing much better than I could have ever imagined. And at that point, I was able to make the transition and say, well, I can make a lot more money running my own business than I'm making here working full time. So about, a little bit over a year and a half into it, I said, I'm going to make the jump now. It's safe. I already proved that this is a profitable business, that I have a profitable sort of like setup in my company. And I was able to jump off, and run the business full time. So it was close to 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, I mean, starting a business, in my opinion, it's the most beautiful thing one can do, but at the same time is the absolute hardest thing one can do, because it challenges you in so many ways, and you have so many things you have to be able to do, and that most people don't make money in it. And I honestly, by luck, I was able to, figure it out and find interest in it.
Did you have any mentors, or just you and your dad?
The thing is, I educate myself a lot, so I read a lot of books, listen to podcasts. But yes, I have a couple mentors and people that I ask a lot of questions. I mean, Joey's been in the industry for many years, so every now and then I also shoot him a question. But yeah, I've been surrounded with great people that teach me, stuff that I need to know, but also reading and YouTube. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. Right now, you have so many resources to be able to learn anything you want.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Nish, so if somebody wanted to get into your industry, how would they go about doing it? Kind of the same question for you.
It's a mathematics-based field, so you could be an English major out of college or a drama major, but as long as you're good in math and statistics, you can get into the industry. The easiest way is to go through the Society of Actuaries website, soa.org. It's kind of like the CPA exams for actuaries. It's a longer process. It takes 5-10 years to finish the actuarial exams. So you pass a few exams and you write a nice cover letter to the insurance companies to hopefully get an interview and get hired. Or you work through someone who you know as an actuary and try to get networking is also a good idea to get into the profession.
Okay. So that's is this something where you're better off getting some type of my question is it better for them to get a certain degree in order to make it easier on them to get into the field, or does that not matter as much?
The degree is not important.
Okay.
It's mathematics based and accounting based and finance investment based. So as long as you have the skill sets and your interest, and if you don't have the background through internships or through the right major, then it's preferable you pass a few actuarial exams to show your dedication, and the insurance companies sponsor you to finish your certification. And I have one certification called Associate of the Society of Actuaries, but I don't have the fellowship. But the certification entitles you to sign government papers that my company is reserving $20 million for this block of business. So that's the main reason for the certification, besides the theoretical knowledge. But eventually, since we're talking about small businesses, I have a couple of friends who are just independent contractors.
Mm-hmm.
They work for companies for a while, and now they work to a recruiter to get independent projects. They're 6-8 months long, and they prefer that way because they're more free to do whatever they want. And then if they don't find another project, they take a few months break until they find another project or another company. So
Now, let me ask you this. How lucrative or non-lucrative is being an insurance actuary? How much can one expect to make as far as like actual dollars? Like, if you can give me a range, like why would someone want to get into that versus, let's say, getting into becoming a real estate agent or something like that, which is a much easier like path to entry, right?
the simplest thing I can say is you can look up actuarial salaries. So there are various charts for the various fields: life insurance, health insurance, so forth, and number of years experience.
Mhm.
But my friend, he makes, I think he's 55 now, but he's on top of his field as a hedging actuary. So he works with the financial markets to hedge insurance products. He makes $700,000-800,000 a year, but
Wow.
that's out of the
Pretty
norm.
Okay, I didn't expect you to say that much. Holy shit.
We make a lot of money. So
Yeah, they do make a lot.
Funny
Okay.
enough, straight out of college, my first job was to be an insurance underwriter.
Okay.
So I did an internship and then I got the underwriting job. So obviously the other interns were in different insurance, like marketing, actuary, and straight out of college, I mean, they could easily make $90K.
Oh wow,
So-
I had no idea.
But also the way that he explains it is very articulated, very nicely.
Right.
It is also really, really, difficult, right? Like it's a very complex, like for example, like when I was in there, they explained to you the different fields. I consider myself, very normal person. I had no freaking clue what was going on.
But to that extent,
But it's very profitable.
Okay.
I can't do sales jobs because I'm too brutally honest with everybody. So it's individual skill sets to whatever they're good at.
Right. Well, you can still be so I don't find that being a great salesperson, you have different degrees of sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have guys that are like very salesy, if you know what I mean, like a used car salesman. Like we've had that. For example, I'll just give example of like the people we employ here, right? So we've had a few employees in the past where they were like sleazy car salesmen, which I didn't like at all. They would push you. Hey, are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? Are you ready to buy? So I don't like those kind of people, because they're very pushy. The people I like is the ones that actually inform you, educate you, and they try to get all the information right. And then you make the decision whether you're ready to buy or not. Mm-hmm. So I like those kind of people. So, yeah.
No, I just want to bring up something I was reading the other day about like Dale Carnegie.
Sure.
So if anyone doesn't know who he is, How to Win Friends, Influence People.
Yes.
So when he died, apparently he had a huge Rolodex, right? And you would obviously expect that he would have people's phone numbers, and like maybe like their home address, things like that, or like their work address. But he also tend to have 3 things that he remembered from the last conversation he had with them.
So that's actually
So
very smart.
I
So-
think that actually go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason he did that is because then, like next time I speak to Sebastian, let's say he said something like, oh, his daughter's in soccer practice or, started soccer. So then next time it could be like 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year from now. Oh, how's your daughter in soccer next time I see him? And, not saying that it's manipulative because it's not, it's meant to, because the thing is like as a salesman himself as well, like one of the best I would argue, is that he lets people's guards down because he didn't intentionally go for the kill, like, you know, like you buying, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
He went, you know,
He took a more
caring,
personal.
more personal, caring route, and then they brought it up, like, okay, what do you like? Let's talk business now. So, yeah, sorry, you could continue, Sebastian.
No, I was just gonna say that, yeah, I think to be successful in sales, you actually have to be really honest up front and set up the right expectations up front, because that way everything that happens afterwards, it's stuff that you already brought
Talked
up
about.
you know, you already discussed. And I think that's one of the key points to be successful in sales. You have to do what you say you're gonna do. So you have to set up the right expectations up front. But also, I mean, you have to definitely be charismatic. You have to be able to talk to people and, you know, really like care about the conversation that you're having, be present. The other thing that I was gonna say too, with sales, is just helping people arrive to a decision. Whether you're gonna buy or not, make a decision. And you can do that by informing people and finding out what their needs are. You know, like if you tell me, hey, I really want this kitchen and I need it done by X day. If it can be done by X day, then I'm gonna do everything I can to do it that day, right? So it's like finding the need and satisfying the need. So in general terms, it sounds pretty simple, but you have to be really honest up front. Otherwise, you know, people are gonna hate you, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so with that, our time is up, guys. This was a fun podcast. So quickly, how can they reach you if they, you know, if they're looking to remodel their home or, you know, do anything, ask you for advice? Sebastian?
Yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram at Hearns Home Improvements, like it's here on my shirt, Hearns Home Improvements, and shoot me a DM.
Awesome. And you, Nish?
My email is nishg@hotmail.com, nishg@hotmail.com. But Gerald helps me a lot because I can't type or use my cell phone easily, so he can contact me through him.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and John?
Right. I mean, you can find me at The Real Estate John Boyle on Instagram, on TikTok, and then John Boyle on Facebook. Well, Johnathan Boyle, but yeah, and follow me. I'm doing 100 days, 100K challenge. So, you know, you could watch over there, see what I'm doing.
Yeah, what day are you on? Just a quick update.
Today is, so I'm already a day behind because of the work that we've been doing. But
Don't blame me.
I'm on. So today's technically day 5, but I'm posting for day 4 and 5. So
Okay, at least you're making up for it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then you can find me, Joey Chan, REI, on Instagram, and then Joey Chan on Facebook. We are at the Kitchen Design Lab, which is our sponsor here. Please like and subscribe to our channel over here. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Take care.